Hey guys, my name is Rodolfo Martinez, and if you haven't seen my videos here before, I'm a certified and licensed athletic trainer. I was the former head baseball athletic trainer at Florida International University down in Miami, which is a Division I school in Conference USA. I'm also the creator of La Gasolinera Performance Therapy, which is a website that focuses on sports medicine and how to keep your arm healthy and performing at its best. I'm here with Figure It Out Baseball to introduce a video series on weighted balls, which is a method of training that's become popular over the years. Before we continue, this is going to cover weighted baseballs, so not plyo balls or med balls or anything similar to that, stuff with an actual game ball feel. Those of you who aren't familiar, weighted balls are broken into what's considered overload and underload. So the overload end of the spectrum is anything that's over your standard 5-ounce, underload obviously anything that's under your standard 5-ounce. The set I have here that I showed you guys before is from Driveline Baseball, and they've put out a lot of research into training with these. On the underload end of the spectrum, we have a 3-ounce and a 4-ounce, and then on the overload end of the spectrum, we have a 6-ounce, a 7-ounce, a 9-ounce, and an 11-ounce. Obviously, you can get different sets from different vendors, so your mileage may vary, but anything is going to be broken into anything that's under and then over. Why are these weighted balls important, and what can they be used for? A lot more research needs to be done in terms of understanding how they work and how to best incorporate them into your training. But the bottom line is that when implemented right and for the right player, we can see improvements in velocity and improvements in the efficiency of your mechanics, how clean your arm path is. There are a couple different ways in which this is achieved, but before we get into that, I'd like to address who weighted balls are not appropriate for. First thing to discuss here is age. Weighted balls have been researched in high school athletes, but caution should be exercised in using them with athletes who haven't finished growing. Playing baseball absolutely affects how you grow and develop, and you gain ranges of motion in your throwing arm that you won't see in your non-dominant arm. Weighted balls will affect this even more, and while you've probably done a lot of growing by the time you finish high school, your growth plates are actually still open. Weighted balls can often cause extra ranges of motion in your throwing arm, and if you can appropriately control this new range, you're putting yourself at risk for injury. Some of the research done on weighted balls has actually shown an increase in shoulder and elbow injuries, so you want to make sure that you're using caution when using something like this as opposed to a standard throwing program. Besides age, I'd also like to touch upon injury history. Weighted balls also aren't appropriate for anyone to use as a post-surgical throwing program or if you're rehabbing your way back from an injury. In these cases where you're just trying to get back healthy, I'd recommend sticking to the basics and using a regular standard 5-ounce baseball. Weighted balls are more for healthy athletes trying to improve their performance, not for those trying to make it back to the field in the first place. That'll conclude this part of the video series on weighted balls. Once again, my name is Rodolfo Martinez, athletic trainer with Figure It Out Baseball. Check out the next part of the video series for more information on how to incorporate these weighted balls into your routines.
Thanks for tuning in to Figure It Out Baseball. If you're watching on the figureitoutbaseball.com website, I hope you check out the Figure It Out Baseball store and grab yourself some gear to help support this totally free resource. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you keep up with all the cool stuff that we do. For you podcast listeners, we've also got our podcast now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Figure It Out Baseball, the home of hundreds of free videos from dozens of college and professional coaches and specialists from great schools like this. So tell your friends about figureitoutbaseball.com, the world's #1 online coaching tool.